Well, here we are. It is Friday, October 3rd, 2025. It's the Friday video. Each week, as many of you know, those of you who watch regularly, each week we go through the auction market. We spend a lot of time, of course, talking about Asian works of art because that's our main area of focus. But we also talk about Central Asian carpets and textiles, which we're going to do today because the Grogan sale took place the other day, and I think they had a very good auction. And American furniture increasingly and other things that seem to be coming along in the market that might be of interest. But today we're going to talk about a couple of very interesting sales that have come up. As we know, once we get into September and October, the number of sales increase fairly steadily right up until about the first week or so of December. Then it quiets down because of the holidays and the New Year, and then it all comes back in January, of course. But right now, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's one sale in particular I'm going to talk about today where they've it's good stuff, but they've misidentified many of the pieces. And they've got Korean things marked as being Nanking cargo and all kinds of crazy things. And I think I know why that happened, but I'll get into that when we get there. And there's some other things in here. There's some interesting sales coming, so I want to go through them, so stick around for it. But before I get going, there's one thing I need to talk about first, and this was something that's come up in the last couple of days with a number of inquiries on the auction identification service off of Bid Amount that we run. I've gotten a couple of inquiries about a sale that's happening at Alderfers in Pennsylvania in a couple of weeks. They're selling a lot of Cloisonne, and they've got some nice, fine Meiji period Japanese, mostly Japanese, Cloisonne. But they have two lots in this sale that are being offered as being by Namakawa Yasuyuki. And Namakawa Yasuyuki was the preeminent Cloisonne smith of the Meiji period. His things are highly sought after. The workmanship was extremely fine. And when he worked on pieces, and it was his work, he most of the time applied a silver plaque to the bottom and with his mark on it. And these two pieces have marks on them, and they look like Namakawa Yatsuyuki's work, but there's some real big mistakes, and they're not Namakawa Yatsuyuki's work and Yatsuyuki's work. And I want to show them to you so you understand, because I know probably more than a few of you have been looking at these, and it's an important thing to understand because they are apparently now doing copies of Japanese cloisonnes by this artist, so they're getting plaques made and added onto them so they can try to sell them as being by him, because they can bring tens of thousands of dollars. And this piece here is one of the pieces that I was asked about. And it's very nice work. There's nothing. The silver work on this and the Cloisonne work is very good, but it's not by him. I looked at it and I said, it's good work, but it's not as good as his work. And this particular mark here, there's two pieces with marks on them. They're both equally fouled up, but I'm going to show you this mark is upside down. So I've clipped it and put it over here. This is the mark that's on this. And those of you that know Namakawa's work know it's not his mark. This is his mark. This is out of a catalog from a very good English dealer who specializes in Meiji period works. Now, we just published one of his catalogs actually over on the Patreon page this morning. He's a Japanese specialist. His name is Stephen Sly, and he's been in the business a long time, and he's had his own shop now for a number of years. And he buys great things. And the mark on the right is by Namakawa Yatsuyuki. The mark on the left is a forgery. And if you look at certain elements of it, you'll notice that the marks are just missing elements or very crudely drawn. This first one here really sticks out the way this is done here. This is how it should look. It's actually missing. It's missing sections. It looks like somebody had a vague idea what a Namakawa mark, Yatsuyuki's mark looked like, and they tried to replicate it. This mark in the upper right clearly isn't like this mark, and his marks were extremely consistent. And you go through this particular catalog, there are a number of pieces in here with his mark on them. And I'll just show you what I mean by consistent. This is another one of his marks on a different type of piece. But again, very strongly done, deeply cut, and very clear. And this is the right and left side. If you stare at them for a minute, you'll see the elements that are missing. So this is something to watch out for. I hadn't seen fake Namakawa pieces before. today. Actually, I'm surprised it hadn't been done sooner, given the thinking of some corrupt dealers. But this mark was added, in sometime after it was made to this particular Cloisonne piece. The Cloisonne piece itself is perfectly good piece, but it's not a Namakawa work. And it's not up to the quality either. It's good quality. It's very good quality. It's B+ quality, but it's not A+ quality. Nicely done, but just a warning. The two Namakawa pieces in the Yasuyuki in the Alder for sale, in my opinion, are reproduction. Here's the one on the other one that's in this sale, just so you can get a good look at it. And this is the mark on the authentic pieces. And this is just give you an idea. The vase on the right here is by the artist. This kind of stuff, spectacular quality, especially in the small areas, the little details. Then you have this is another example by him. There's the bottom silver. Typically, the silver marks the plates were added onto silver pieces, pieces with silver frames, and this is his work. On the right, just superb. This looks like gilt bronze or something, some sort of gilt metal, because you can see this suspect piece has wear through here to the brass underneath, the bronze underneath, and that wouldn't be Namakawa Yasuyuki. This should either be this should be silver most of the time, or maybe pure gold, but not gilded bronze of this quality. And the bottom of it isn't that well finished. There's a whole lot wrong with it, but just so you know, I don't want to spend the whole day on it, but that's where it comes. That's where it lands. All right. And things that sold last week, we talked about these Korean things a bit. This very nice red-headed heron was Korean, Joseon period. Vase, it was estimated at 700 to 1,000, and as we thought, and we've talked about it a few times, ended up going for well over that. It went for 2,700 plus 30%, so around $3,500. Very nice piece of work. And then the brush pot that we focused on quite a bit. I had left a bid on it of a few $1,000. I didn't get it. I didn't expect to get it. I would have been shocked if I got it. This had sold at Christie's, or had been offered at Christie's. It didn't sell, but it was offered at Christie's a few years ago, 2022, I think, and had a large estimate of like 12 to 14,000. It didn't make the reserve, and it was reoffered here with a $1,000 to $2,000 estimate. So much for estimates, and it ended up going for 7,500 plus premium, or around $10,000. So the Christie's estimate was just a bit on the high side. That's what that means. All right. And then over here, this was the Grogan sale. We did a video on this because I'm a rug buff, and I know Michael Grogan pretty well, and I think a lot of him. I think he's a very knowledgeable person in the market, and he knows an enormous amount about rugs. He's been a rug hound. He's been involved in Oriental rugs for 45 years, 50 years, long time. I shouldn't say I don't know how old he is. He's young like me. Any rate, his sale did very well, and this was a nice auction. This had some really good pieces. This was that Qashqai carpet that was in the sale. It was #1, and we talked about it last week because I thought it was so exceptional. And it was listed in I think they mentioned it was in the book by James Opie, who was one of a very well-known rug guy for many years. He wrote a lot of books, especially on Central Asian tribal rugs. I mean, Persian tribal rugs, not Central Asian, Central Persian tribal rugs, Kemsa, Qashqai, Afshar, all that sort of thing. And this was an extremely attractive rug, just an extremely beautiful carpet and a rare type. And it did really well. It brought 20,000 plus the premium, or around, that came in at around $25,000, $26,000, depending on the premium. The premium was 30%, probably 25% on Michael's site. So you always bid through the auction house. You save a lot of money. In this case, if whoever bought this, I'm sure he bid on it either on the phone or through their website. And by bidding over there, he saved himself, around $1,200 in costs just by changing where he bid. Anyway, this was a heck of a nice rug, and the other rugs in the sale did well. Some of the rugs, one or two rugs didn't sell because they were oddball. I think it was because of their sizes. One of them was a bee jar. It was one of these very narrow, long, I think they refer to them as cailliers. It was 4 or 5 feet wide, but 15 feet long or something. And those are tough rugs to place. And if you have a rug or a carpet that that isn't going to be chased solely by Persian rug collectors as a collectible object, and people looking at the rug as potential floor coverings in a hallway or something to use. Placing a rug of that size is difficult, so you don't always get enormous competition for them, because the rug was spectacular. It was, one of them was a great bee jar. There was nothing wrong with the weaving of the rug, but it would be not something that would appeal to a lot of people looking to put one down in their house, unless they have a massive wide, old, an old mansion with very wide hallways, extremely wide hotel width hallways. They're really the only place you can use them. So anyway, this rug did well. The bakshish carpet that we thought was so pretty in the preview, and this was a small rug. This was only a 4 by 6 foot rug, but it was just absolutely beautiful quality. Ended up going for about $24,000 all in and done. And this rug was 4 by 6. It was not a big carpet. As far as I know, I think it was fairly small. Yeah, 4'10" by 6'2". It was a fairly small rug. Bakshish carpets can also be found in a very similar pattern once in a while. Not always of this quality, but in room size rugs, 10 by 15s, 8 by 12s, and they bring huge sums of money. But this was an absolutely great looking carpet, and I don't think the price was too much for it. It was extremely pretty, as was the other one. There was another bakshish carpet as well, awfully nice. Again, beautiful color, wonderful layout. This one, I think, was this around the same size? A little bigger, 7 by 5, and went for around $20,000 with the premium, all in and done. So it was an absolutely, both of them are beautiful. I love bakshish carpets. The colors are so good. And then over to this, the techie rug. I gave this a shot, didn't get it. This was an awfully nice Turkoman carpet. They dated it to about 1875, and I was thinking it might even be a little bit older than that. It was very, very well done. The way the gulls were done. This is really great colors. And this did fine. In the end, it went for, well, that works out to about $7,700 or $7,500 or so for the carpet. And it measured 6 by 7 feet, but an absolutely great tribal rug. And then this was the other piece that did well. This was a Bashir Mafresh. This is a fairly small rug. It's actually a saddlebag face, and it measures 1 foot 5 inches wide and 4 feet long. So it's fairly small, and it ended up bringing about $3,700. And you can go through the sale. There were numerous results in here that are worth looking at. If you're looking into buying good rugs, this is a good guide to go by. This is what you should expect to pay in a good auction for high quality carpets. And the estimates all were, rugs are very, very hard to estimate. They're among the hardest category there is to estimate, because there's so many variations. And I think their estimates overall, when you look, if you look on Live Auctioneers and then add the premium, I feel that the estimates are actually remarkably accurate. All right. Now, what else is going on here? This sale. This is that sale I was talking about with hold on a second here. No, this was the sale. This is a sale that's coming up at Casa Sykes. And I had a couple of inquiries about this sale on one piece in the sale in particular. I'm not quite sure why everybody was focusing. Well, I know why they're focusing on it, but they probably shouldn't be. Hold on a second. There it is. It's a collection of items that came from a professor or something, and they had been exhibited and shown in Chicago. But the catalog is actually online, and this is the first part of it. But there's a couple of lots in the sale that you want to be very careful of. There's a couple of pieces that are marked Sung that are repros. And I had a couple of inquiries to the rest of the pieces in here. You'll see there's a huge quantity of Ming blue and white wares. And most of them are common wares. Most of them are Ming Yao. They're sort of the pieces that you find, in the around the market in the $200 to $700 range typically. These aren't the imperial pieces that bring huge amounts of money, but they're all from the sort of the Hongxi through the Wanli period. That's where the predominant numbers of them are from. And there's some good pieces in here. If you like jarlets, it's Mecca. There's full of jarlets. There's a very nice kendi. There is a nice Ming Long Quan Celadon incense burner right here. This Kendi is rather interesting. This is sort of an unusual design. It's sort of a provincial one. Appears to be probably Wan Li or so, but nicely done. If you like the more slightly more rustic looking, I guess is the word for it. It's not painted with any sort of extreme precision. It's painted like common Mingware bowls, which is unusual. This is very unusual type of Kendi with the decoration. And the estimate is only $200 to $300. The estimates are insanely low, just so you know. The estimates are very low on this sale, and almost insultingly low in places. But all of the pieces are more or less estimated at $100 to $200 or $200 to $300 throughout the entire sale. All right, you have this nice one of these nice Ming shark bowls that you see once in a while. There's a lot of variety here. This is the one thing that's really fun. If you're looking to build up a collection of Mingwares, and they have the listing for the catalog when it was shown, and it was out in, I believe the show was in Chicago. It was an exhibition a number of years ago, back in the 80s, the 70s, late 70s. The catalog is published online. Anyway, this is the collection of Ming bowls, and they all look fine. They're all authentic from what I can see, and so forth. But I'm going to get down to the one that isn't authentic. It's this and the incense burner in particular. Well, both of them. This is not this is a 5-spout celadon. That's true, but they're dating it as Song Yuan Dynasty, Yuan, and it's not. It's not. It's not. This is a modern piece. It wasn't exhibited in that show, and it may have come from this man's collection, but it was one of his mistakes. And every collector makes mistakes, but this is not a Sung foot, as many of you can tell instantly. The glaze is too thick, and the lid is, extremely refined and unusual to find the lid on one of these five chimney pots. The ribs aren't clear enough. There's a lot wrong with it, but just so you know, that is not an authentic piece. And the same for the incense burner. And there's nobody bidding on it yet. I think most people have been able to spot that it's a copy. It has a fully glazed foot with no wear on it at all, which is not likely for a Sung Celadon. And they typically didn't glaze them over fully. They usually left the end of the foot unglazed. Even on the copies, they typically leave them unglazed. And it's 4 inches tall, it's got 12 people watching it, so I hope you're not one of them. How many people are watching this? 23 people. Okay, if you're one of the 23 people watching this, take it off your watch list. You do not want to buy it. I'm just telling you. But the other pieces are good. Every collection has a mistake or two in it, and I think that was one of his mistakes. And so anyway, but there's some nice Celadon pots, good blue and white pieces throughout. There's some nice Southeast Asian export type Celadons down here. These are the kinds of things you find in Indonesia and the Philippines and that part of the world. I suspect that's where he bought some of this back in the day, because he wasn't going into China to get it. So he had to go to someplace where they exported these pieces to. And there's some nice pieces here. So go through it. I've left a bid on a couple of things that if I get them, I get them. Don't let it bother you. Don't worry about bidding against me. I never, if I don't get it, I don't get it. But anyway, these are just some of the lots. So do check that out. It's a good looking sale. And moseying along over to, this was one of the, is this Sykes? Yeah, this is one of the plates I thought was very attractive. Early 17th century and 12 1/4 inches, very nicely painted. This is the kind of stuff you're going to find in that catalog. This is a particularly well done example. Particularly well done. It's quite beautiful actually, and it's like a basin or a bowl. And I wouldn't call this a dish. It's got fairly tall sides on it, but the estimate is only $200 to $300. Of course, it's going to bring more than that. It should bring $800 to $1,000 to $1,400, somewhere around there, I suspect. But we'll see. We'll see. Somebody might get a bargain on it. All right, now over to. Is this the Bauer collection? This is the one that has everything misidentified in it. For example, it says 1752 Nanking cargo shipwreck Chinese Celadon ware oil bottle. And then those of you who collect know exactly what this is. It's a Joseon period, 12th century Korean Celadon. It's a very common type. And my feeling is what happened in this sale, we're going to go through some of the lots. My feeling on what happened is that the gentleman who collected this stuff, I don't think is any longer with us, and probably his family were going through his collection and his things, and they kept finding references to the Nanking cargo because he had a number of blue and white and Chinese pieces that did come from that sale in this catalog. They are there, but they're not everything. And I think they just sort of use that description to cover all the lots. And the estimate on this is $200 to $800, which is sort of a wide, useless estimate. It should bring 300 to 500, somewhere around there. But if you go and paw through, this is Lion and Unicorn, the sale. You just go up here and type in Chinese and pull up everything that's listed as Chinese. Right away, the first lot you see is a Korean Mei Ping vase. Second lot's a Korean Celadon vase. This is a Korean bowl. That's a Korean bowl. All the way down. These are all Korean pieces from what I can see. A couple of them are late Sung, early Yuan Celadons as well. So you have to go through them. You have to be kind of careful. They're all antique. They're all authentic. They're just all of these are misidentified. This all the way down to here. Now these are like what you would find in the Nanking cargo. These pieces here. So I think, like I said, I think what happened was he bought some of these pieces, and then the family sort of smeared his entire collection as having come from there, because these clearly are not. These are clearly from a different, a different country, different culture, different everything. But it's if you know what you're doing and you understand Korean works and you know Sung works when you see them, this is a pretty good sale to look at, because they did come out of a nice old collection. There are pieces down here listed as Chinese that are Japanese. You got this Japanese early 17th century Japanese Arita dish. That's what this is. It's a well-known type. I actually have one of these. You may remember, well, if you're a Patreon subscriber, a few months ago, I had bought a blue and white one. It's more darkly painted. This one, it had a very strong color palette, but it's virtually identical. And this was the kind of stuff that around 1600, 1610, 1620, the Korean potters were first teaching the Japanese how to make blue and white. And these are the earliest of the Arita pieces. All right, and then hopping along, so just keep that in mind. That's all. This is an interesting sale. There's a few nice pieces in here, and you'll have to go through it on your own and sort of decide. I can't go through each of the lots and say, well, this one's Chinese, this one is Korean. But those of you that have been collecting for a while know there are some contemporary Korean pots at the end too, some fairly modern pieces, because they're all signed and underglazed blue and all that. So you want to avoid them. Unless you want to buy contemporary Korean porcelains, you can certainly do that. But there's some awfully nice examples in here of old Celadons, if you're interested in those. The Nanking cargo stuff is good too. So pick and choose. All right, and then there's that one, and there's that. Yeah, that's the back of one of these listed as Nanking cargo. It's kind of silly. And here's a Celadon that's pretty obviously not. This appears to be Korean, and it's done in the Chinese style. The Chinese did these, and the Koreans adopted it. But it certainly appears to be a all that kiln grit and gunk and the shading of the Celadon. It certainly appears to be a Goyo example, a rather nice one actually. I think this is one of the nicest ones in the sale. I suspect that's why I set it aside. So keep that in mind. There are some nice pieces here, but this is not a Nanking cargo piece. This is a 12th century Korean piece. All right, and then moving along over to, here's another one. This is also Korean, listed as Nanking cargo. It's also 12th century. And then over to here. Now, this is New England Auctions, Fred Giampietro. He's got a sale coming up with some pretty nice pieces of porcelain in it. Do check it out. One of them is this. This is a nice-looking dragon plate with a Guangzhou mark on it. Oh, no, this is the one with the Daoguan mark, excuse me. Here's a Guangzhou one as well. It's upside down, but that's okay. This is a pretty good-looking plate. And it looks authentic to me. He had actually sent this up to me, and I thought it looked okay. You have to inspect it in person, because it's some of the cobalt here, the lighting is a little bit fluky. You want maybe get some outdoor shots of it. But this looks like a pretty good dish. That looks like a pretty good dragon dish, and they did make them, of course, during the Daoguan period, the Chaiqing period, the Qianlong period, and so on. And it's sort of a nice example. The estimate's $2,000 to $4,500 opening bid. It's already got 21 people watching it, but this is a nice looking sale, and the sale is on the 16th of October. So check that out. There's also this, a rather nice Dao Sai enamel dish, and this does appear to be Guangzhou mark and period, but very nicely done, awfully nicely done. And you want to look at it in person and so forth. Apparently it was sold at Sotheby's Hong Kong in the Greenwald collection and all that. But the foot rim looks good on it. The mark looks okay. The decoration is very, very fine. And they didn't do a lot of Dao Sai enamel work during the Guangzhou period. So this is a pretty good looking dish. It's estimated modestly at $1,000 to $2,000. It's got 18 people watching. I think it'll do pretty well. But if you've been looking for a nice piece of Dao Sai ware, you might want to give this a look. Both of these plates measure 8 or 9 inches in diameter. This one is 8 inches, and this one is no, this one's 10 1/4. It's a sort of a big one, a good size one. Okay, so there you are. So they should do well, but they're worth looking at. If you want to chase it down, go ahead. And then over here to this. This is a sale that's coming up at Nadeau's down in Windsor, Connecticut. They've got some nice things. So many of these are institutional deaccessions to, you know, how they raise money for different funds. And this one had belonged to the, all it says is a Northeast institution from the collection of the Geraldine Rockefeller Dodge collection, who's the part of the famous family, and here it is. But this isn't, they've got it listed as Ming. I don't think this is Ming. I think this is more likely an 18th century example, but awfully nicely done. Doesn't look Ming to me at all. It looks very Qing to me, but there's the bottom of it, and it's got some old stickers on there. But the feet look good, the wear, the paste in through here all looks authentic. It looks perfectly fine. And I think the estimate is terribly low. I'm just going to warn everybody. I think this is only got 5 people watching it. And the sale is on the 25th, though, so you got about 3 or 4 weeks to go. It measures 2.5 inches in height, so if it's 2.5 inches high, it's probably about 4 or 5 inches wide. But it's a sweet piece of crackleware in that cafe ground. I like that quite a bit. And then there's this lot. This is a mystery to me. I don't know why this was lotted this way. This is came from an Upper East Side New York apartment, and this is a whole bunch of Ming turquoise glaze wares. And some of them aren't worth a heck of a lot, but you have a nice pair of candlesticks hiding in the back. You've got one of these sort of well-known incense burners that they did. You've got these 2 jars, which are just perfectly fine. You've got almost like a Fawa designed seated Buddha over here. And then this vase, another type that we've seen before. We've seen this type of vase sell individually for $400 to $600. So I'm a little bit of a surprise as to why they lumped it all in together, but they did. So, and the estimate for the whole lot's $400 to $800. It should go well beyond that, but right now it only has 3 people watching it. Now, people may see this and think, well, they lotted it this way because they're all modern. These are not modern. These are legitimate Ming pieces. So if you like turquoise and you like the later Ming later Ming glazed pieces like this in these colors, chase it down. The candlestick height is. What are they, 10 inches tall, to give you some idea of scale for these. And you can get the information on the other pieces, but they're all pretty standard sizes, I'm assuming, from what I can see. And then there's this in the sale as well. And they just have this listed as 18th century Qianlong Qing Dynasty vase. It's not 8.5 inches tall. This is rather nice. This is a very nicely glazed pot. I think the dating is probably about right on it, 18th or early 19th century. But very nice shape to it. And it's not a tiny one, but it's not an enormous one. It's 8.5 inches. The estimate is $500 to $1,000. I suspect it'll get there. And then there's some other pieces in the sale. So Nadeau's on the 25th. So absolutely check that out. Some good things. And then hopping along over here, this is Dumouchels out in Michigan, right? Detroit, Michigan. They've got a sale coming up, and I talked about these plates on the Patreon side earlier this week, Monday, because I know there are a few people over there that collect this pattern, and the Rockefeller pattern, of course, is a very popular one, and they always do well. They always do well, and there are 2 Rockefeller platters in this sale, which is quite unusual to get 2 of them, and both of them are in great condition. This one measures 17.5 inches in width and 14 inches, in height, so to speak. But it's 17 inches, almost 18 inches. That's a big one. That's very big for one of these. And the decoration is excellent. And the gilding is 99% intact around this rim. All that's gilding on here. And it has this very nice orange sepia sort of border decoration within cartouches and so forth. Expect this platter to bring probably 2,500 to 3,500 anyway. And then there is also a slightly smaller one in the sale as well. And here's a lot of the China trade in the sale. There's a lot of China trade in this auction. A lot of it is 18th and first half of the 19th century. All of these rose mandarin pieces are 1820 to 1850, somewhere in there from what I can see. A few of them might be a little later. This one up here with the dragon might be a little later. But here's that Rockefeller platter. And down here, here's another Rockefeller platter. This is the other one. And this one, I'm going to get the size, is 14.5 inches in width from end to end, but beautifully decorated also and in very, very equally good condition as the other one. And that should bring probably $1,800 to $2,500, $3,000. Very, very desirable pattern, obviously. But there's some other very good pieces in here too. Some of these platters in here, go in here. If you're looking for big platters, check the sizes on these, because some of these platters are quite large and you don't realize how big they are until you look at them. Well, here's one that's 18.75 inches. It's almost 19 inches in length. It's a big rose mandarin platter from the middle of the 19th century. Very nice quality. And there are numerous other examples in here as well, and some hot water plates, and bow pots, teapots, more dishes, hot water plates down here. There's a whole bunch of hot water plates in this sale, and hot water plates, as you know, are quite desirable. And these are nice ones. They're nicely done, nicely decorated, and I think there's 4 or 5 pairs of them. So if you're looking to build up your rose mandarin and China trade collection from the mid 19th century, this is a pretty good place to start. And there's some other pieces in here. Some of the things on this end are okay too. This pair of blue and white platters are quite excellent. Armorial, very beautifully decorated, wonderful, very fine quality. If you look at these, I wish they showed a close-up of the blue and white work, because the blue and white work on these are quite fine all the way around, and nice borders, beautifully done. And this platter measures, the biggest one measures about 14.5, 15 inches almost wide. But these are memorial. That makes them more valuable, of course. And there's other examples in here. So overall, it's a very nice looking sale. And it's obviously somebody's collection, or they've been gathering pieces up from maybe a couple of collections, but it looks quite good all the way through. And that's it. All right. So there's a lot going on. There's a couple of more sales coming along, but do check out the Gem Petro sale, and check out the Sykes sale, and so forth, but just pay close attention to avoid the Celadons that are marked Sung. They're not, they're fakes. And the other sales that we talked about are all sort of interesting, and the one with all the Korean pieces marked as Nanking Cargo. If you're a Korean buyer, it might be a great opportunity to acquire some good pieces, because they won't turn up. If they don't mark them as Korean online, they're not going to turn up in searches by people who collect Korean. So unless they just happen to stumble across them, you may have an opportunity. Because always remember, if the item is misdescribed, it can't be found in search properly by its name or anything. So it makes a big difference. All righty. All right. So that's it for the week. There's other stuff we're looking at right now, and I'm hoping to do a trip to the PBS Museum next week. I've been meaning to do it, but I've been dealing with a medical thing, and I haven't been able to get around as much as I was able to go to Europe. That's when I started to clear up, but I was dealing with a medical problem, and it was harming my ability to walk. And I won't go into it, but it had to do with a foot. And it's finally better. We were able to go to Europe, as you know, and travel, and I think we're all set now. So I meant to do this back in the spring, and but I was unable to. So that's what was going on. All right. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the autumn weather. It's beautiful here in New England, and I hope it is where you are too. All right. Subscribe if you haven't. Join us over on Patreon if you're thinking about it. Come over and check it out, and we'll see you next time. All right. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.